Hello. Today on Quantified Software, we talk about how we will know we found a new best practice. This is Quantified Software. This is what we are looking for. The standard model is how we describe the best practices. It's the distillation of what we currently know of how to build software. Generally, agile processes, quick iterations, small units of work. This is what you will see if you go online and seek the best way to build software, given our current understanding. DevSecOps, the whole DevOps practices, GitOps, rapid iterations that deploy quickly, and this is the tooling that does it. Oftentimes people will talk continuous integration, continuous delivery, continuous deployment, and getting early customer feedback. But how will we know we've found something that improves upon this standard model? So really, what is the question we're asking ourselves today is, how will we know we found it? So trying to describe what it looks like, but also trying to have a test to measure whether that thing that we found actually does look like what we're seeking, but also maybe a negative test to exclude those things that don't look like what we're seeking. What will we use to judge suitability? So that's what we are looking for today, is measures or metrics and units that we can talk about for different processes that we are seeking. So I have 3 tests, 3 freedoms, and 3 requirements. So for tests, how will we look at each proposal? So is it invariant with respect to tooling? So if you need a particular language or you need a particular framework to make a best practice work, it is probably not what we seek. Is it invariant to industry? If you're building software for a regulated industry and you need a certain practice, but if you're building software for a different industry, you would need a different practice. That does not sound like something we seek. Now, you may have a different need for quality in, say, a airplane control system or an autonomous car control system, but the concept of quality is the same whether you have a consumer app or a driverless car. So this is very similar to, is it invariant to system purpose? So industry and purpose overlap here, but the driverless car analogy to an automated trading platform, how you build those pieces of software and what your potential costs of failure are different. So you may have different concerns or different weights that you place on the different attribute, but the ability to choose how much quality to build into the product is the test that we are looking for. So the freedoms we're talking about here, it can vary by team size. So there may be a best practice that isn't necessary when you're a team of 1. And as you get bigger, it begins to deliver more and more value. It may not be applicable to a team of 3 or 5, or if you can all sort of still stay in that 2 pizza size. So if there's a variation along team size, that seems acceptable. It may vary by organizational product maturity. In this case, you could imagine that organization that's still exploring who its customers are and what their customer pain is, they may still want to have more freedom, and they may lever up on technical debt versus an organization that's already established and is in a much lower growth rate. They may have substantially different types of trade-offs that they want to engage in, and so it's free for us to say that it's okay for our best practice to apply differently for across that maturity scale. Organizational resources, a company that has a few $1,000s to invest on a software project versus a few hundreds of thousands versus tens of millions. That scale does not enforce that each of those software products be built in the same way. So again, a freedom there and requirements. What must any best practice be able to say that it accomplishes? So I think it must be able to be understandable to non-technical business people. If you cannot describe it, maybe in a few sentences or a paragraph, a single drawing, then clearly we're missing the mark in some respects. It must be measurable in units of dollars. I think this is maybe the core pillar on which this whole process exists, which is if you cannot describe the software building process in terms of dollars, then clearly there is some breakdown in your measurement. And it's objective in process to reach the result, meaning two independent actors can go through the same algorithm, the same process to achieve an outcome. There may be some discretion involved or an estimate, but given the same estimates, the same two independent actors would reach the same conclusion. So in that respect, it needs to be objective in the process steps to go through to achieve the goal. So that's what we're looking for. Love to hear your feedback or your thoughts. We're always seeking better ways to measure software. This has been Quantified Software.